faith, hope, and charity. But what really is charity? In 1 Corinthians 13. Alright, 1 Corinthians 13:3. Paul is speaking to the Corinthians, and he says, "Although I bestow my belongings to feed the poor, and have not charity, it profits me nothing." So, is he contradicting himself? Because he's basically saying, if I am charitable and I'm not charitable, it profits me nothing. How does that make any sense? It doesn't. So there are examples of lying pen of the scribes in the word. So it's when words or meanings have been changed to basically to lead people astray, whether that's by purpose or not. But I would argue that it is. You have to read between the lines sometimes and look into things, because it's not always so straightforward. That things have been changed. A big example is all these modern translations like NIV, whatever else. A lot of these have verses completely taken out, and you can go and Google this. Or the original meaning is completely different because it's been translated in an easier to understand modern version, but the meaning is changed. That's a big thing. It's not. We can't just change the meaning to suit it to be more palatable or something. Like, the meaning needs to be the same meaning. Anyway, so if we look up in the Strong's Concordance, this is a resource that helps us to understand the root words and the original, the original meanings of certain words. You can look up any word in the Bible and figure out what the root meaning was. So in this chapter, 1 Corinthians 13, charity is G26. And that root word is agape, which means love. And so then we go on from there. So what does loving your neighbour mean? Because we are told in the word that no new commandments were given. So we don't have 12 commandments, so the 10 commandments plus loving God and your neighbour. And we don't have just 2 commandments, because the 10 commandments still stand. We are told to keep them. So it's not 2 brand new commandments. Those commandments summarize the 10 commandments. So loving your neighbour, well, the word defines that in Leviticus 19:17. It's to rebuke your neighbour and not suffer sin upon them. And loving God is keeping the commandments. That's John 14:15, which relates to Deuteronomy, for example, 7 verse 9. So let's read 1 Corinthians 13:3 again. I'll just read it on the Bible here. Hang on. "And though I bestow all my goods to feed the poor, and though I give my body to be burned, and have not agape, brotherly love, it profits me nothing." And this is interesting because it actually ties into more of the word, which is just proves Isaiah 28:12, which is to read line upon line, precept upon precept. We don't read just one chapter and that's it. It's all tied together. In Matthew 23:23, it links to Luke 11:42, and they're both talking about if you pay tithes of spices, but you can relate that to, if you go and do this kind work for someone, but you don't share the truth of the gospel, which is the refreshing of the covenant. So that means if you don't teach them the Ten Commandments, and if you don't rebuke them when they sin against the commandments, if they're a believer, then your work is for nothing. That's what it means. So, if you want to go and do charitable work, that's wonderful. But as a believer, as a follower of Yeshua, you can't just do that. That's not enough. That's great. That's a really beautiful thing. But it's like, that's just the cherry on top. The meat of what you're doing should be sharing the truth of the word, sharing the gospel. You can share that with everyone. That's what we're supposed to do. But and if they're a believer and you don't rebuke their sin, then your work is for nothing, and you're failing. Just to put it bluntly. Yeah, I hope that was clear enough. I'm still waking up, I think. But I've written this in a document, and I'll upload this to YouTube, and I'll link that document in there. Otherwise, if you're interested in reading it and you don't want to go through YouTube, whatever, just message me and I'll send you a link to that document. Yeah. Thanks for watching.